I think I just need to go to the bathroom for more bits. You can jump again.
Well, that's too bad because I just hit the button.
Well,
It's alright though.
Well, now everybody knows.
Yes, he has to poop like a human. But yes, we are at a new session of Rescue at Raxis. It's been a little while, so we should get a rundown, and we'll get it from one of the players. Botch, what happened last time?
They got over the hangover.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Alright, other Botch, give me the actual rundown of what happened.
There was a case involving furniture. That, yes. Let's just say a wizard and his toys shall never be parted. The wizard must have all the toys that he needs. Even if he can only have one. Only one.
He still picked the most expensive one he could.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the party decided that it was a first morning in their new home, which was still empty, as they crunched on their rations, chewing on month-old jerky. They realized we should probably get some personal effects, and so they set about. Well, some of them did. Zarzul and Castalia hit up the Temple District for a few words on an arranged appointment.
We also got to see statues of the heroes of Raxis.
Some of them, yes. But perhaps you guys will be among them. Anyway. Then Rain and Cornelius had a fun time discussing the boutiques. What to get. Because they can't just have peasants' furniture after all. And they've already made such good, well-intended and thought-through purchases such as their house. Then, after that, there was a little bit of a conflab, further plans being made. Zarzul lounging around in the square, the market, in the Craftsman's District. Cornelius and Rain having a little buzz in the brain to go check out the educational areas for reading material. And Castalia potentially stood up. But we're going to wind back the clock to the beginning of the day. Well, just after the beginning. Droop has been given charge of a house. The rest of the party have buggered off. Wolfgang is lounging upstairs. Pufflesworth is just clawing at the skirting boards a bit. Siegfried. They've all made plans. You're just sitting there, sort of collecting yourself for the day's events. What is it that you're up to in the great city?
Well, I'm going to go around the different bars and try and find out who might have access to the castle, and if there's any rumours of ways to get in and out of it.
Alright, you're going to put your ear to the ground. Put your ear to the floor a bit. Hear what's rumbling.
Yep.
You do have a choice of establishments and districts. You know, this is the Craftsman. This is residential, lower to middle. This is residential, mainly middle, with some businesses. This, temple and poor, with some lower middle.
We'll go for the last one first.
You're going to head to the temple district, so you're quite a bit behind Castalia and Zarzul as they start to head more into the proper temple areas. While you will be hovering more around this sort of region. Or there is, of course, the main bar at the square itself. Is it the Foam-Crowned Hammer?
Well, the plan is to visit most of them.
Alrighty. You head into the Foam Crown. It's, very early, but there's always a bit of business in this place. Mainly it's about 3 or 4 people just sitting around, a bit of breakfast. Some of them it comes in the form of a tankard. A few on a plate or a bowl. And there's a fairly overweight looking elf standing behind the bar. Not a whole lot of foot traffic, not a whole lot of bustle. It is first thing in the morning after all, really.
In that case, first things first, breakfast.
Alright, I can do you a bowl or 2. I'll be 2 copper. You a drink with it?
No, I just want some breakfast at the moment.
Alrighty. Sitting where I can see you, and I'll bring it along when it's done.
Okay,
And
I go
easy.
and sit down.
Yeah.
Probably with if I can get a view outside through a window or anything.
Alright, so you take up one of the front spaces, and yeah, there's a fair bit of hustle and bustle moving around. It's mainly a fair bit of kobold swarms, and just people sort of beginning their day. Not a lot of work to be done in this region. You're seeing a lot of people transiting down through the gates you came through, and into the craftsman district and other parts of the city. You do, of course, notice across the square what looks like the poor district, considering some of the rooftops and tallest part of the buildings that are just peeking over the fenced wall are not in the greatest condition or orientation, but then there's just all that barricade and the gleaming armored figures patrolling outside it, mostly in white tabards. Some are in full robes with only, a helmet and some gauntlets, but the rest look very heavily armored as they're stepping back and forth.
No, I'll just keep my ears open while I have breakfast.
Alrighty, roll me a perception check. Still a bit early, so even with a high roll, you're probably not going to get the pick of a litter.
No, but
It's a
got
start.
to start somewhere.
Well, it was perception, not persuasion. And I think you might have a better mod there.
What do I get? Persuasion.
You got a 4.
No, that's about the same mod.
Okay. Not a whole lot. There's a guy complaining about the stink from the tannery in the craftsman quarters. Now, since it's been autumn and it's getting a fair bit blustery, he is getting it right into his home. And there is like a few smatterings, complaints and all, a few awkward runs across the boats. Because they're going through one of the big rivers that splits the kingdom and then up into a big inland river. And apparently there's a lot of farm stops along the way. That's kind of how we're bringing in food, and it seems like that's just ripe for any problems, although he does laugh about how he's never seen an orc swim. But that's about all you're really picking up here.
Okay.
Where's your next stop?
Well, we'll try around the craftsman area and see, just wandering around, listening to people and keeping an eye out for anyone of interest.
Well, there's certainly people of interest as you spot a gaggle of kobolds, and several of them are in full bell hoop skirt dresses with ridiculous wigs, but have one or two kobolds behind them holding the rest of a wig up so it doesn't touch the ground. They are, in their raspy voices, calling out for merchants as they walk through the beginning market. Now and again, there's a kobold with a big bag slung over his shoulder, just spilling coins out, and they just grab everything on their stall. Yes, fine crafts, I will add them to my larder. And they continue to sort of just move around a little bit. It's mainly what they're not doing in commerce, they're mainly doing in conversation. It's just a lot of just general banal chatter as they talk about all the various kobolds in the burrows and mines. Along with a few bits of gossip, but give me another perception just to see if you can pick it out. Because there's a lot of... They're not really waiting for the other to stop talking before they start up again. You're hearing a bit about how the fishwife is just a pain in the hole. You're hearing about how Lazul is far too proud a figure to ever sign. But that's about it among all the gabbling about, isn't she fat? I bet she's not having... I bet she can only squeeze out one kid in her lifetime. And various other jabs and pokes at their potential rivals in the world of noble women. You do see one of the kobolds is very fancily dressed and includes Cornelius's hat.
Yeah, I believe that hat is around quite often. Or is it the proper one?
Nah, it is definitely one of the merchandise ones you've seen. Same one as Zarzul brought home with him.
Okay.
And yeah, with that perception, I mean, there's just a lot of hustle and bustle, craftsmen, tradesmen, and whatnots pandering about. There's not a lot of idle conversation, not a lot of direct conversation. A lot of salutations, and that's about it.
Right.
Well, where to next?
Well, we're going to be here for a while, I believe.
Potentially.
So, might be an idea to try and find some.
Are you looking for regular work or work that you guys have been used to lately?
Well, at the moment, regular work would be probably what I'd be looking for.
There are a few boards posted around. Some simple requests, one or two things like a missing cat. Although as you read it on, you notice it's into the poor district, up in the temple area. And it's got a hearty 2 copper reward.
Yeah. I was more meaning like dock work or something like that.
I mean, you do see quite a few that are looking for strong arm types, and then you look at your noodles on the side of you.
Yeah, it's not going to work.
But there is also opening for more couriers. Lugging packages, supplies, food about, just all over the city, constant running work.
That could work.
And also a few simple contracts that look familiar as well. Apparently there are thieves out to the east. There's a bit of bodyguard work on some of the ships. And also a night watchman position in the docks. And of course,
sounds promising.
Yeah. And of course, a recruiting poster for the town guard. The usual sort of text. There's stretch thin because of a war. Do your part. Gain a gold coin for a night's work. Well, you do notice at the bottom it does say the gold coin is paid after a week's after a day's worth of shifts. You work 24 hours, you get your gold coin.
Yeah.
But hey, it's not bad.
Poor person.
Yes, exactly. It's really good for a peasant.
Yeah.
That's about it
Yes,
for
but
that
I
board.
kinda
There's a few other things like, you know, a card game tournament, but you need to find your own. Oop. There's apparently an old couple having a wedding and they're just inviting anyone.
We'll have a look for couriers, I think. At least that way I might be able to get into different areas.
Yeah, you're not surprised at all when you find yourself heading down into the dock areas, and it is this building here. It's got the most sort of people hanging about. It's got the sense of business about it. Step on in. There's a dwarf just eyeing you up the moment you step inside. You look a runner?
Yeah, I like running.
Job eye.
Yeah, I'm looking for one.
You know your way about yet?
Still working on that.
Right, we'll keep doing main streets. Name?
Siegfried.
Got last?
And Ham.
Nah, mate. You just get coin here. You want your lunches, you buy them yourself. Right,
No, that was my last name.
you poor fool. Anyway, sign here. He just holds out a form, you look it over, it's all the general things that if anything gets missing or damaged, you are liable, not the company, you.
standard shit.
Yeah, it's all very standard. You're not seeing any kind of unusual traps or weird wordings. It's all very basic. You deliver a package, 2 silver.
Yep.
But, yeah. A lot of this stuff won't spoil, but just make it quick. You can get another package, get out again, get more coin. You with me?
Yep.
Good lad.
And Yep. And I signed my scribble down.
Nice beard, by the way.
Yeah. I'm getting there.
Good. Alright, long legs. You should deliver a couple of these here. I just hand you. After you're holding them for a second, you think probably books. About the right sort of size, right sort of heft of them, but they are completely wrapped up in paper. First, you hit up the schools. Let me see now. How can I steer you here? East District. Just look around for a big building full of kids. No bother.
Yep.
And then the first teacher you see, get the writ. Oh yeah, here's the forms. He hands you out this big bilious bit of parchment. But you can see there's bits where it's been slightly cut through with a knife. Get the signature, you tear that bit off, you hand her that one. Done and dusted.
Okay.
Good lad. Out you get, legs.
See you later.
And before you're out the door, he's already greeting someone else to apply him for a job. So there we go. Siegfried's the first one who's not a filthy scrounger. He's gainfully employed. And now we're gonna tip the clock forward a little bit. Cornelius and Rain. What were you guys up to, huh?
Well, basically, starting out at the base level of education to kind of pick up a basic history of the Raxis area, just kind of find footnotes to begin with.
Yeah, you find yourselves at the remedial studies. Just in fact, as Siegfried is starting to walk away from the place. And the three of you cross paths.
Ah, you're up and about.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the lay of the land.
All right. Found anything interesting so far?
Nothing useful.
All right, well, we're about to head in to see if we can kind of get an idea of the local history, just so we have an idea of what is happening right now.
Yep, I'll see you later.
All right, take
Have
care.
fun.
Off he runs back to the office and a gainful 2 silver. You're then immediately handed another package. Bit bigger, bit heftier, but still easy to carry. You're told to hit up one of the pubs in the town. Actually, the pub that Cornelius and Rain hit up in the West District. And off you go. Anyway, back to the schools. It's a pretty nice building. Hard to tell what it used to be, but it was definitely not a school originally. You can tell there's been a lot of conversion work done on it. And there's a hustle and bustle. There's a few kids that are sort of the ankle biter kind of phase, some of them the knee bashers. A few of them have that streak of meanness that can only really exist in an 8 to 10-year-old. As you approach, one of the waiting staff just takes a look over at you. And it's just watching to see how you approach. It's a fairly matronly sort of figure. Pushing a little past the 40s.
I'll probably walk up and introduce myself to her.
Oh, how can I help you? Yes.
Yes, I was wondering if I could be able to peruse some of your books here, because you're trying to figure out some of the local history of this area.
Oh, I mean, it's nothing to be ashamed about. Some people miss out on education early on.
Rain is currently looking incredibly amused.
You don't have to make excuses, sir. Just come on in. There's nothing to be ashamed about. We can all learn here
no.
equally. She's taking your hand, by the way.
Yes, that's quite all right, madam.
She's leading you in.
New in this, Madam, I just wish to peruse some of your books. I'm not
Yes, I
interested in
understand, Mr.
type.
Cent. Yes, I understand perfectly well.
I'm following behind, looking very, very amused.
And she leads you in. There are a few sort of classes still in session, still a few people buzzing about. Most of them are lunch break. And then there is what could be called a study. It's definitely not a library, but it has enough room for about 5 or 6 people to sit down with a book. Although you're seeing about 7 or 8 sitting on the floor, taking up most of the space. There we go. Now, do you need any help?
Well, only so far as which part is your history department of books.
Well, that wall there is the history department nominally, but the children don't always know to put the books back. I hope you'll be more polite than that.
I most certainly will, madam.
And
Thank
you
you
don't
very
need any
much.
other assistance we have here. She brings out a little stick with a small hand carved onto it, just to help you follow the lines.
That's quite all right. I'm already burdened with this one, as a point to Rain.
Alright, the two of you, you can either roll with advantage or 2 separate rolls. Investigation. And then think about what is it you two are looking to find out in general.
Well, it's just basically what Castalia was told about last time. Just in general, what has, like with the elves, and if there were any kind of big time orcs before then, like big war bands previously. Just
With-
kind of the highlights of what Raxis considered history.
Yeah, you find a few of the noble houses. You find a bit of their lineage, like the Turoffs, who are who have owned the fishing fleet historically for centuries. There's also, where is he in the file? It's an awkward name. Why did I make that there? Yes, there is also talk of the Hoffner family. They too owned a competing share in the fishing business and also in the marine transport business. You're not finding anything about orc hordes or any mention whatsoever of the Northern Kingdom. But you are finding out a lot of sort of topics of national pride. You do find out about the Great Monster War. And there are quite a few books about Ermom himself, and a few that go on into his friends. But you don't find out anything about orcs at all. That's all gone. You don't find anything about what the previous kingdom was up to the north. Just that in some of the books, it was a place of monsters. And it was a great war fought that united the two... Just gotta rearrange the thoughts here. Fucking hell, it's too hot. Ermon was able to unite the two knightly orders and also the third arm, which was the Temple Crusaders. Basically, by simply saying, "Do you have balls big enough to do what I'm about to do?" He was quite the orator. He fell partly in battle, but managed to survive a little bit afterwards until, blood loss, shock, poison, and all sorts of things happened to him because he was attacked by a multitude of things. Let's see, where did I put that note? Ah, yes. There is also a little note about the Fallowinter family. Just a little sort of pamphlet bit that's mainly about just expressing to the kids respect nature. It is a little bit patronizing and step by step, but for some reason it's it's been well worn, this book. It's been read a lot. But in general, you're not finding out a whole lot more apart from this is a pretty old kingdom. This has been established for a great long time, and strangely enough, there is a few notes you find that are a bit unusual, as in, there used to be a town around Castle Raxis. You're thinking maybe they mean like the King's Manor that's currently here, but then it does talk about the surrounding area, and then the new Castle Raxis that was built was on a flat. Like, there were no mention of any mountains. apart from far to the west.
So,
As you skim, there's usual things like it was mainly settled. It was originally settled by dwarves and elves. Humans came in a few centuries later, built it up even bigger, more impressive. A lot of elves migrated outwards. Oh, there's very little talk about the Westlands. Very little talk about, and as I said, nothing on the north.
well, that's interesting. I'm not sure it was entirely helpful.
Yeah, so we basically don't have what Castalia knows at the moment.
Well, there's also a fact you're finding out that maybe omission.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's missing here. There are entire sections where clearly things have not been going quite well, and instead of dealing with it, they're ignoring it.
Well, this is also base education, so
Even
probably
so,
wouldn't- it's
usually
kind of
Go
like
on.
with regular history in school. You don't really talk about your nation's dour side in the base level education.
Yes,
You
in
wait for that
fact,
until after.
yes, you do in fact find an entire lifetime volume of fantasy setting Hitler. You find about every detail of his life, his campaigns, everything he did. Nothing on the country's own atrocities. As is the way with any high school history class.
Yeah.
So we'll probably have to hit up the religious quarter to figure out anything more, if at all.
Yeah, see if they have a more comprehensive records.
Well, as it is, I vaguely remember Melgern and Castalia were trying to figure out something about a magical. What was it? A magical smelter or something?
Yeah, it's a book about the something in that direction. I
Yeah,
think it
well,
was
we're
about
out.
to make the to help make the forge better.
Yeah. And I know we could probably look that up. That would be more likely to be in that section, too. Well, this does give us a good idea of what we should start looking at, probably.
Yeah.
Throughout
Right.
this book hunting, you do find a few tugs on your trousers and your robe, as a few of the kids ask you for a bit of help.
Ray, you'll
apart
be
from
very
that-
nice and provide help.
What does Cornelius do?
Basically signaling Rain to basically help him. Like as he's trying to read the book, just kind of gesturing. That doesn't say a word. Just look at Rain gesturing to that kind of get this thing away from me.
Give it a juice box or something just out of my presence.
It's touching me with its poor hands, its poor filthy hands.
Rain will look increasingly annoyed, but be very nice to the kid.
Every second he's touched, he prestidigitates to get rid of any sticky mark. And so the two of you step out just in time to see the ever easily distinguished figure of Castalia stepping through the gates along the street, shimmering in the light, and looking a little grumpy, perhaps mainly stoic. It's hard to tell with her sometimes. The horns seem to convey emotion, but they're never moving.
Ah, do you have a chat with Tolkien?
No, he wasn't at the tavern and wasn't for 2 hours after the meeting. I'm heading to the front to see if he's there.
Oh, well, we do have. In case something, if you think something has happened, we do have the two scrolls of sending. If you believe he's in trouble.
Possibly after I see if he's at his post or not.
I don't know.
I don't want to use one of the scrolls if he's just being overworked.
Fair enough. We are off to see if we can access some of the temple's old historical archives.
Did the school provide any information?
Well, at least helps us know what it didn't say, if that makes sense.
No, but I think you'll probably let me understand it a bit later. Oh,
Basically, there were holes in the history that seem to indicate that maybe we should find our story somewhere else.
There's quite clearly some blinders being put on in some places.
Well, if you're looking for a good place to unwind after this, the Foam Crown Hammer does serve heroes for free. Mr. Hero of Feralden. I got that name right.
Van Dalen is the name of a play.
Van Dalen.
Vandalen is the actual place.
Ah. So you can swing in there for a nice, delicious drink if you want.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for the recommendation, Castalia.
No problem, and it's completely up to you if you reveal who you are.
As he's giving you this sort of look, he can see behind you walking past someone wearing the hat. As they just dig at their nose with a thumb, getting in real deep.
Anyway, I'll meet you two back at the house later, unless you'd like to meet somewhere else.
Well, that's up to you. I just don't know how long we're going to be.
Alright then, I'll wait for you back at the house then.
Alright. If you do find out something is seriously going on, you can always try to poke around in the religious district and go find us.
Of course.
And so we'll jump to Castalia for now as you head down the street.
Ah, good, because I need to go to the bathroom as well.
Oh, again. At least finish off once. Anyway, as you head towards the main gate, and there is a fair hustle and bustle. There is a lot of wagons, a lot of really muddy people as well, a lot of dudes with shovels slung over shoulders. Bit of roadworks going on to try and fix things. And as you're stepping to the gate, there is a very light sort of chilled mizzle starting to hit down. Although luckily some sheets of it are getting caught by the walls. And as you step up, there's a couple of men standing in armor. Most of them blue, some with a few pink tabards, and it's one of them that stops you. You looking to go out there, miss?
No, I was just looking to see if Robert Melwitz was working here today.
Robert. Is that one of you lot? As he looks across at the blue. I know, Bob. No worries. Hang on, I'll go get him. Who's
Thank
calling
you.
for him, actually?
Castalia.
Alright. There's a lot of clanking. And he goes all of about 5 feet before you see that he just, grabs this guy standing there, a younger looking lad, probably about 17 or so, in blue livery, just pulls him up on his feet. Some hushed whispers, and then he just sort of pushes him on his back. And you see the squire head off through the gate. Before the knight himself just returns to where he was standing very comfortably. A few moments later, you recognize the armor, the gate, as he steps outside. Oh, Jerry got a hold of you then.
Yes.
Sorry about that, but Rothgar, he took a bit of a... Not Rothgar, it was Rudigan. He took a bit of a foul stomach to him, so I had to cover the shift. Sorry about that.
Oh, it's alright. I just wanted to make sure that nothing had happened.
Nah, I just hope it didn't waste any of your time there. Did Jerry get to you?
The barkeep?
No. One of this lot as he sort of pats the squire. sent a runner with a message, but I wouldn't be able to make it.
No, I never got it.
Oh. I'll have some words with him. Maybe he wound up
Alright.
I gave him 2 addresses. Maybe he went to the house first. That's oh well. They always think
Well.
in a list. They don't really have the initiative for him yet. Sorry about that.
Oh, it's alright.
I've got the next few days though. I'll only have the day shifts for tomorrow, next day. So if you want to meet up tonight,
Sure.
but I'm gonna be swamped today. So set a date. Send word to me. You can use one of this lot, as he again points to the squire, who is looking very depressed.
Alright.
So yeah, I've got to get back to work now.
Alright, you have a good day.
You look amazing, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, anyway, so later, yes. And he clanks his own way back. As you can see, that's odd, completely wooden axe clattering against the side.
Well, with that, my business is complete, so... I believe I will head to Yosef's.
Yosef's. Alright, well, you're in transit to Yosef's. We jump over to Zarzul, who sees Siegfried crossing the square with a package under arm.
Hello, friend!
And it actually is.
Oh, hi there, Sazzle. What are you up to?
Me? I'm exploring this place. It is so grand, so many people. Yes, yes. I think I shall pick up my pouches for my knives. Yes, yes, that's the most excellent idea. Yes, yes. Then I'll see the puzzle clumps and see about getting a coat or a hat. I don't know. It was so shiny.
Yes, well, I've got to keep moving.
He's-
At least be able to pay for breakfast and that.
For once, he looks entirely sober and unadjusted, but his pupils still seem weirdly dilated with how happy he is. He's getting new shit in all the colors, maybe.
Yes, the colours. My own little hoard. In coat form. Yes. Just need to get the belt. Need the belt with the money. Maybe. I got an idea. Yes, yes. I shall try. Yes.
Yeah, Siegfried, you run off as he continues scheming under his breath. The tall, clawed fingers steepled together. As in his mind, an MS Paint picture of him stealing Cornelius's belt comes to mind. There's a lot of aggressive stick
no.
figures.
No, no. Another plan. So I'm going to pick up my pouches for my daggers that I was told to pick up today.
Yep, the dealer recognizes you, greets you. Tries to insist, maybe you want to invest in a bigger longsword, something with a bit more nastiness to it.
No, no. I prefer not to get too close to daggers, and short swords shall be fine.
Just pointing out, though, a bow's all well and good, but you could really lop off an orc head with this. Look at the curve on the blade.
Yeah. Maybe another day. Maybe another day.
I'm here every week, don't you worry. I'm here helping you defend your rights.
Yep. Oh, I was also thinking of some armor for my wolf. Any idea where I could find such a thing?
Now, when you say wolf, you mean a wolf, right? Not just a big dog.
Most definitely wolf.
Right. Some of the wolfhounds and all are about as big. I wouldn't be able to sell you, but I know a few who would. Look over there, and he points this huge fuck-off hand that only has 2 fingers on it, pointing over at the tannery region. Right. You go there, you ask for Nevis. Doesn't matter who you talk to, you ask for Nevis, they'll direct you. He does a lot of stuff for horses, hunting dogs, he should be your man.
Oh, excellent. Thank you, good sir.
No worries. Good hunting there, and hey, bag a few greys for me, eh?
Quite possibly, good sir. Quite quite possibly.
It's good. I could do with one on a stick. It would really help the counter.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to head over to the tannery area first and sort of see. And ask the first person I see who looks like they're actually somebody who belongs there for Nevis.
Also, while you're doing that, Botch, give me a d20. But yes, easy enough to find him. He is an incredibly stout, jiggling mound of a halfling. He is about 4 times your width, and he is on a trolley.
Hello, good sir.
Ow!
You're Nevis, aren't you?
Oh,
I
yeah.
told you the best.
That's me. I'm Nevis.
I'm looking for some armor for my wolf.
Right. Wolf. Wolf. Right. 4 legs.
Yep.
Full tail. Not docked.
Yeah, full tail.
Strong.
Reasonably.
Let's see here. Could do you leather. Could do you studded. Metal's a bit scarce because it's currently put in a war effort, but I could fix you up. Where is my player's handbook? Just to remind myself what the various things are. I could do you hide. You find me a good enough creature with hide, I could do you hide. Don't have anything untreated like that myself. And he looks like he's really struggling to sort of keep his breath in. Tops I could go for you would be chain shirt. Although
I'm more interested in the leather or studded at this point.
studded, right. That's easy enough. That's fine. You look in 130. Gold.
130. Okay, excellent.
That's your
I may
flat
be
price.
back
If it's any
later.
although I will stipulate, if he bites me or any of my boys, it goes up in price.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So is he inside the city?
He is at the moment. He's in our house.
Right. Hang on a sec. He snaps his fingers, a bloke comes across to whisper a little bit, and the bloke pushes him on his trolley out the door so he can look up at the sky. Right, you can bring him round. We'll get the measurements, get this worked out. Won't be ready today, but, you know, give it a few.
No, of course not. Good work takes time.
Yeah. Half paid in advance, by the way.
Okay, I shall have to go and collect some gold. I'm not carrying that much on me.
I wouldn't be smart. You never know who'd be rifling through your pockets if you're not careful.
Yes. I shall be back. Thank you, good sir.
Name, in case one of my boys isn't here.
Zazzle, get him.
Right. Keep a note of that. Kobold, Zazul, Shifty. Got you.
Excellent. Thank you, good sir. Hope to see you shortly.
Yep. Siegfried, you arrive at the pub. You try to push the door open. It's not opening.
Right, I knock.
You do.
Do I hear any movement from the inside?
Yes. But it's very quick. And it's going away from you.
I'm here to deliver a package, so... Can I see if there's a back door?
You can walk around, yeah. You doing this with any speed, any cautiousness? Just casually strolling?
Well, at the moment, I'm a bit cautious, but otherwise, just keeping my eyes.
You trying to be quiet?
I'm a courier. Quiet doesn't really come into it.
Okay. So you step around. You're still a little, you know, a little slow on some of the steps, but as you get round, there is a back door, yes, wide open.
Right, I go up to it and call in, hello, is anybody there?
There is no response.
Right.
The inside of the pub is empty. There's stairs leading up doors. You know, of course, there's a basement. There always is to keep the drinks going.
Well, what's the buildings next?
As you look around the buildings next to you, a lot of them are houses. Several of them look to be empty. There's a storehouse. And you're not really seeing a lot of people milling around. Closed doors, though.
Well, I'm going to knock on the door again, and the open door anyway, and call in, hello, anybody?
You can wait, but there's no response.
In that case, I'm going to take the package all the way back to the delivery office and say nobody was home, so we'll try again later.
Oh. Well, that's me out. Oh, well, that's you out as well, I suppose, so, right. You got another shift in you?
Yeah, I can do another package.
Keep in mind that you are darting about the city at this point, so very quickly it's going to get to exhaustion rules.
Yeah, I think one more and that's about it.
Yep. But yeah, he gives you a couple of letters tightly bound up, bit of wax and all stamped on. Make sure you don't break the cord. Just take these up. Now, how do I explain this to you? Right. So in the Temple District, there's a weapons store, big gaudy place. Never buy anything there, but you hand it to the man, right? It's up the main street, on your left. You'll see it by the big bloody sword stuck on the wall.
Sounds easy enough.
Right, back and forth, up two. Look at him go with that beard. It splits in two behind him. It's amazing. It's like a scarf. Alright, that's Siegfried going walkabout as he zooms by Zarzul on his way back. Now, let us reconvene with Cornelius and Rain. As ever, joined together.
Oh, heck. Well, this way we're going to be having to decide child visitation for poor Drew.
Don't think it's not looking favorable for Cornelius. The worst part is she's going to get your name.
Wait, what?
No, I don't think so.
In the divorce trial, she's going to get the name.
That's the worst part of it all.
Yep. During the court proceedings, they just lift up Droop's shirt to show all the wounds and scars. They're just ignoring the fact that Cornelius didn't make them. This man's a terrible father. Look what he grew up with. So
you were there when he got them.
So, you guys are setting off. Where to?
Well,
What wasn't the temple?
yeah. The whole temple complex to see where we might be able to do things.
Yep. Again, and I cannot stress it enough, you do see the walled up slum district. It's weird, so I'm going to continue pointing it out. There is also...
She's interested, but she's not going to be touching it.
There is also Kobold House, which is still rapturously loud as hell, as they are partying it up because it is payday. There are several kobolds hanging out the windows, dangling each other. So, do you go to...
Get off in the archives.
What'd you say, sorry?
It's just it's I hope the walls are thick enough in the archives.
Well, you do find yourself, if it's noise growing distance as you walk further in among the sort of cluster of temples, of religious buildings, of various novitiate dwellings and whatnot, and a few not quite manors, but rather stately homes for those who have accepted quite a few donations. You know, those who have a bit of seniority and apparently their gods don't enact a vow of poverty or anything. There's a few simple gazes now and again, a few nods of heads as just the air of what's going on and who you are sort of shines through a bit, particularly with Rain. She's got her Kalemvor symbol and all, she's quite obvious. And the fact that Cornelius is well dressed means he's not like the usual rabble. And therefore welcome, because, well, you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing you guys just ask around for a little repository of knowledge?
Yeah.
Yeah, basically just asking if there's anyone who has some historical archives and it was alright if
Open
we wanted to
libraries.
do.
I'm afraid the libraries are not open if you're looking for history. Facts, figures, and learning, yes. History is something that must be protected.
And what fun and how might we be able to aid in the protection of the history?
Well, protection of such antiquated pieces of knowledge and delicate reading material, of course, requires funding. And he slowly starts to reach out for the little box. As I'm sure you're well aware, and he's still moving it in one slow motion.
We are very aware.
A
I
little
look at Cornelius.
token of
never-ending
generosity
pocket.
can go a long way to preserving history and expanding on those who are aware of it.
Can I do a perception to figure out exactly what would be the accurate amount of money needed? Or insight?
Yeah, I'll go insight on this one. You're trying to sort of gauge him a bit.
Does he get an advantage considering I'm standing there? And able
Some-
to go, no, no, no.
That'd be disadvantage for Cornelius. You've never really spent money like this? Or you're not getting anything back immediately, or something nice? So this is a fucking mystery. You figure, though, he looks pretty slimy. He looks the way that you first felt about Rain. So, you know, he's actually higher ranked than Rain is currently.
So around 35 gold.
If you slot that in, yeah, he'll be happy enough to show you exactly where to go.
Yeah.
Very gracious, you must be of a very fine blood indeed. And hopefully a very devout churchgoer.
Yes.
It's good. A noble soul, of course. A noble soul is very important. Follow me. He starts leading you down. Goes through the big temple. Although goes to the right instead of the left where you went with Zarzul previously to the office but the previous day. Again, it's through the warren of tunnels. Various little cloisters, little tabernacles and all that sort of stuff until you go a few floors down, in fact. You know that you're now under the city. It is getting colder. There is no naked flames. Everything is shuttered with glass or is just glowing. It's just a stone that produces light. You go for a few more places. It's a little claustrophobic. There's mainly room for him and half a person as he leads you down these halls. Now, there is history and there is history, so please don't trespass any further than what you need to know. As he brings out a long, ornate key, it has so many cracks that have been filled with gold. He just creaks it open, pushes open a large set of double doors. As you step in, it is everything you could have hoped for, Rain. It's quite nice for Cornelius as well, but for you, this is beautiful. These are tomes, these are archives, these are codexes, these are big books. Unfortunately, all the really nice looking ones are behind a huge iron gate. What you're in is like 1/4 of the room, where there are several shelves and a couple of reading tables and lecterns. But there's shelves upon shelves upon shelves behind the iron wall.
Rain is visibly giddy.
Now, if I just direct your sight here, there's a bell on a rope. It will thankfully make no sound, but it will signal when you are ready to leave, and I do not wander these halls unescorted. It is easy to get lost. But you pull
Oh,
the
yes,
bell,
no doubt.
one of us will come to help you out.
Thank you so much.
Good readings. And he very slowly closes the door while looking at the two of you, before it finally seals shut. And then you hear it lock.
Rain giggles a little bit. She does not care that she's locked in.
The bars are, of course, floor to ceiling.
Cornelius is kind of worried because he's locked in with Rain.
It also feels like you're locked inside like a wine cellar. It's slightly too cold. You're somewhere in the bowels of the earth. There are no windows, there is no natural light getting here, it is all arcane.
There are no windows and no doors.
Just
They're all
you and Rain and a locked door.
Ugh.
Well, Rain is immediately starting to look either for more of the history that they're looking for, or if there are any books that might help with the forge.
You've got a distinct feeling everything you want is beyond that gate, because that's how it always is.
Yeah,
But, you know, as you look around the other things around you, a lot of them are too old and ornate to even have titles. It's like this would have been the only book in the whole area. Some of them are as tall as you guys. Some of them are up to your waist. Great massive compendiums of incredibly artistically drawn knowledge. Although, funnily enough, when you grab any of them, they feel sturdy as hell. They feel resilient. And you're thinking maybe they put a few other little enchantments on that they really are spending money to keep this stuff protected, because it doesn't feel like any of it's falling apart. None of it feels brittle or worn out or dried.
Yeah.
But yeah, give me an investigate. You can do it with advantage, or just the two rolls separate. And then think
I
about
have a high.
specifically what you guys want to know, because there's a lot to trawl through. Luckily, Rain has a bit of a knack with this sort of thing.
Can I use my history?
I got a 24.
I'll give you history, yeah. But I mean, she already rolled with advantage, and that's great.
Okay.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, the two of you are on top here because there are no distractions. You can entirely focus on this. There's no child drooling on your shoe. So, what specific things do you want to know? And you know what? You get 4 each. 4 specific things to know. So while you guys compile that and think about it, and you can confer, you can use text for this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's jump across to Castalia. You walk past again. Are you still there, Castalia?
Yes, I'm still here.
Yep. As you walk past the big ornate foundries and blacksmith, you find some of it's almost homely. It's a quaint little shop. Looks to be about 2 floors. A couple of big furnaces going. And you see, of course, 3 dwarfen gentlemen lounging about, having a big drink. You might want to mute yourself while typing.
Oh, yeah. You whipped that there.
And yeah, this is Johann's shop, as you can see. How do you approach?
Well, I suppose by just walking up to it. The
You
direct approach is always the best.
Yeah, and they definitely agree as all three of them just stare a bit. One of them is at least glancing down now and again, looking at the bottom of his tankard, but the other two are making no bones about it. They are just oogling. One of them tries to whistle, and you just see the sort of few ribbons of spittle get in his beard. So, what can we do,
yeah.
you miss?
I had heard that your blacksmithery was, or your foundry was in need of aid.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be real nice. Advertising? Certainly, you definitely bring in the customers. Hang on. Johan! Applicant! And you hear thudkin, as out walks, well, hobbles, a dwarf with a chunk of metal where a foot should be. He looks early in his years, not a whole lot of lines. But there's definitely a lot of burns on him in various places. There's a bit of ear missing. There's a big scorch mark right in the tip of his bulbous nose. Hey, Bonza. So, you a smith?
Yes, indeed.
How much experience you got?
Not a whole lot. I was just a smith in a small village before, well, taking myself on the road. I've done odd jobs here and there, but never really spent a very long time.
Alright, it's all in good. Did you train dwarven, human?
It would be my own style, with little bits taken from human, dwarven, and a little bit of the Shadowfell.
That's a fancy one, that is. Okay, no idea if you'll have call for that, but, alright, come on inside. Stop gawking, you lot. Come on, be fucking professionals. As he leads you in, it is not busy at all. You can tell that these three are most of his staff, and that this is probably what they've been doing for most of the day. You're not seeing that a few, like, there are a couple of foundries and forges, but several of them are just out, and a few of them are just burning low. As you can see, I've got a lovely amount of help here. Real nice to work with family and clansmates and all that sort of bollocks. Anyway, no offense, you're not going to be able to work here like that, just for your own safety. I know you Horned Lot have a bit of a... You're alright with fire and all, but I don't want you getting a fleck of steel melting into you.
Oh, I understand. And we wouldn't want the water splashing about and cooling things a bit too early.
Exactly, you're going to put a crack in something. So, leathers, aprons, it's easy enough to get. I can provide the aprons and the gear for you, but might need to be a bit resized, but that's fine, it's what we do here. So, you looking in short-term, long-term work?
Short term to start. I'm not certain how long I'll be in town.
Alright,
but long term is certainly a possibility.
Alright, that's good to hear. Well, first off, you can start fueling that fire for me. As you can see, they're not much use for stoking, but they've at least built up a fuel pile. And then we're going to bash about a few swords. Get a couple of lances sharpened as well.
Sounds wonderful.
Excellent. Welcome aboard. I suppose I need a name for you.
Castalia, and I offer my hand.
Ah, Johan.
Well,
He just...
for a handshake.
Yeah, he offers his, but he grabs you by the forearm and just shakes. There you go. Nice work.
Forearm shake.
Yep. Nice working with you. Don't fuck up.
You got it.
And now we jump to the couple. In the dark, surrounded by books.
The one place that both of them actually wanted to be.
Yep.
Yes.
Just without each other.
Yes.
How wonderful it would be to not have that wizard here.
Yes.
Which is great, because both of them can say that. But one says it patronizingly. Great would be to not have that wizard here. All right, have you guys worked out what you want to know?
Well,
Yeah, so the basic one is see if we can find out about the whole North Empire business.
Yep.
And maybe see if there's maybe some more details about the Drake that Ermon we were hired to deal with.
Okay, we'll start off with the Northern Kingdom, what you can find on it. You are having to jump through several books to piece this together, because basically you're looking for mentions, and that's about all they're giving you. You realize there's probably a full fucking history behind those bars. But, for now, you are settling with what you can piece together from books about, army movements, about formations that used to be, about honored regiments. Some glorious accolades that a few of the noble families did up, and a few tensions when families split, when bloodlines went extinct. What you put together is that Alchemia basically was another prosperous kingdom, but they also had the problem of a bit of intermarriage between the royal family and a few of the noble houses, and it was starting to become less and less clear on who was actually related to the king of Alchemia and who was king of Raxis, and especially which bastard child belonged to who. They were close right up until they decided to try and stab each other in the throat. However, Raxis, while it had a smaller army, they were well trained, but they also had a core of wizards. They had a core of powerful magic users. And there's a few blanks. What you can tell is that the fighting was pretty desperate. A lot of houses were wiped out completely. Some of them turned traitors. Some of them came across, like the Hoffner bloodline was apparently mostly Alchemian and came over to Raxis during the war. And then there are no more mention of the wizards. There's no more mention of any arcane learning. Because you did find there used to be, like, number 2 here, used to be an arcane college. But that was centuries ago. Now it is just a building. Although it doesn't list what its current purpose is, just that all mentions of that being a place of arcane learning is gone. The mention of the wizards is gone. There is now mentions of how there is now Raxis Mountain as a testament and symbol of their victory.
wait. So was the mountain not there before?
The mountain was not mentioned until the war was won.
Oh heck, what do those wizards do?
I think we found out why their hands out of the mountains.
Yeah.
It is also after the war when they decided to split into 2 knightly orders. Before then, it was just every noble family pitching in under one banner or another. But from then on, they organized into the Azael and the Cerules. Okay, so that's what you learned about the Northern Kingdom from the books you could find. It's a lot of chest beating, a lot of proudness of winning the war, and a lot of details of, well, we won the war, that's all that matters, right? Don't worry, they're not gonna...
the mean.
Yeah. And as you'd expected, the cause of it was a pissing contest between noble families.
As usual.
As is typical. Alright, your second quandary.
That land to the west, and why everybody's not talking about that either.
What you can find in the various books, you do find an unusual account, actually. I just need to remind myself of the fucking name. Luckily I have Castelli's comportment here, it's handy.
Yeah, I've started to keep track of a lot more.
Yeah, it's also just handy because I've got to shift through... Like, I've currently got 4 notepads open.
Oh,
as I'm jumping between various bits of it, so that's why it's handy to have a player's notes also handy. Yeah, so... What you do find out is that... Yes, there was an orc civilization known there for a long time. They showed up a century or 2 after the Great War of Alchemia, but they've been there, and you find mentions of truces, of agreements, and you also find a few odd names among some of the noble houses. Like, you do find the Tuskbanes, but then you also find that there are Orcish names mixed in with the Tuskbanes. You find that there's a few mentions of... I've got to fucking scroll down to find this. I wish I'd arranged this a bit simpler. Yeah. In the more recent histories, you do see a name recurring, Kariga Frysworn. And these are very new. These are only about 5 or 10 years old from the look of the condition of them. And she's described as a very powerful and also intelligent orc woman. And you find her name mentioned a few times with, as I scroll down to find his fucking name. Let's see here. Yeah, you find it mentioned with Stebbins. It doesn't give a first name, but it mentions House Stebbins. And there's a few mentions to being the Cerule Knights.
So everything wasn't sour before, and suddenly it is.
There was conflict before, in a few instances. There were a couple of attacks and all, but then there was this long period of nothing but a few extra names added. But then there's also, of course, you turn the page after getting to the orc names among the noble houses, and then you find, depictions of the trophies, and the warnings, and the weapons seized. Wow, look at this. This squad of Cerule Knights slayed 70 orcs in one night. But then, of course, you turn the next page and find out, there's a frascal among some of these families. There's a family emblem that's been edited to have a couple of tusks on it. Although the family seems to be gone in later pages.
So things might have just gotten a little more complicated in Succession Wars.
This might be tied into the Succession War.
Yeah.
Okay, this has got way more complicated than it had been.
And again, you do feel that itch train. It's the easy answers are behind those bars.
Yeah, but I also know I can't get to them yet.
Alright, so that's 2. Number 3.
Well, we'd probably shift gear to the forge now.
Yeah. Because you kind of answered one of the other questions about the Mountain of the Fans that wanted to figure out the Necromancer encounter, but I think we just figured it out now.
Yeah.
It's pretty tough trying to find something about the Spellforge, because all you had, Cornelius, and Rain wasn't even there, was a couple of names, and also, a wraith you killed. So you're guessing one of the names is struck off. But you do remember one of the names was Calnabrents. He was someone involved in the creation of the Spellforge. And you did spot his name coming up in a few places in semi-recent history. It's after the Urmom fight, So within a century. But his name appears and disappears with a few mentions of eccentricity, of a court wizard, and then nothing. And you're also remembering people that said,
No, it's just that it seems like the wizards are gonna be a big fucking issue.
No, but as you look through it, you just find like 2 mentions in all the various tomes you find. A wizard showed up to work, and then that's it.
And whenever they say something and then completely drop it, it's a really bad sign.
What you do find out is that there was a replacement who seemed to hold his position for way longer, and it was only known as the Toy Maker. That was just his official title, taking over from Court Wizard to Toy Maker. And held his position for what looks like about 50 odd years. And only only stopped being mentioned or left service about 5 or so ago. And there's just a long list of various roles, including Defense of a Realm, mentioned around his job.
Well, we didn't figure out very much useful, but it did also kind of give us a little bit more information.
Have you got one more thing you need to know?
Do we want to look up the dragon and what happened with her mom?
Oh yeah, that was
Yeah.
one of the things you're wondering about.
Yeah.
Yes, you do find out. You find out that the dragon was called Kutamiya Giza. I'll type that out. Who was an incredibly powerful adult shadow dragon. But despite being listed as an adult, he was huge. He was powerful and immense. He was able to destroy whole ranks of the army in a single breath. The descriptions of his fight with Ermom and his party, there's a lot of damage to wings. That's explained a lot where there's this glorious chapter about how Kutamiya could never fly again, sort of thing. But there's no mention of, say, like lopping off a tail or a face or anything, and it did get away, and it managed to soar itself one last time over the mountain. There are mentions of how like how a noble son gets in his head that he should be a noble hero, and so off he rides on an errand quest to try and kill this dragon. There's never been any evidence that they've ever found Kutamiya again. Believed to have died of wounds because, well, Ermom and his group used some fucking nasty shit. There's a lot of talk about how Ermom used this colossal, solid, iron-looking chunk as a hammer. The head of it looked unshaped, the handle was huge, and he swung it with all the might that sent the dragon reeling. But then, of course, he lost an arm, he couldn't pick up the hammer again, it got a little bit scary. But yeah, it talks a lot about how Kutamiya wasn't the one in charge, but was near enough the general. Once he vanished, a lot of the army broke apart. There wasn't a whole lot left after. There wasn't a whole lot left of the army up to that point, but he was cunning, what they figure. He was clever, but he was also really easily led out by insults, by affronts to his stature, to his power. He didn't suffer fools gladly at all. And he fought nothing of those that he killed. Which isn't abnormal for an evil dragon.
Yeah.
But at least
So
once
he
it talks about how he was easily goaded.
Yeah, that would explain why it would be so easy to attract them just with a piece of cloth with a bit
Yeah.
of smell on it.
And yeah, his wounds were grievous.
Yes, that's actually important knowledge because that also means that any potential plans to take him out of the future means that a trap could be somewhat easier to do.
Yeah, because he's easy to be goaded.
This was also 100 years ago.
True,
He might have mellowed, but probably not.
Yeah, 100 years ago is nothing for a dragon.
He's probably more pissed off, come to think of it.
Yeah. I mean, you might think, okay, he can live a century and he can live 1,000 years, but he's still got to live every day of that.
Hmm.
And if you goad him about all the crap that's happened with Ermom, that might be an easy way of getting him pissed off.
Alright, since that was a simple find, you get one more. Think hard, think quick.
Should we try to look up, see if there's any news on necromancy? Why there's so many necromancers around here?
I mean, you can, but I think it's just related to the whole disbandment of wizards.
No, it's not. It doesn't come up in relation to
Yeah.
that. It comes up only in the Great War that Ermon was part of. There is mention of several casters who controlled undead, but as far as you can tell from the records, that are still spotty and, a lot of legend, a lot of hearsay sort of thing. They pretty much seem to be accounted for. And you're also not seeing mentions of any of the particular toys you've seen bouncing around. There's no mention of a skeleton ball, for example. Although there is mention of great giants made of many, many skeletons. Like, not a undead skeleton giant, a giant made out of skeletons.
Well, isn't that almost like that bone ball we had? It's a bone construct.
Yeah.
In this case, I was walking around on nominally 2 feet.
Just
Yeah.
And there are
feet made
and there
up
are quite a
of
few
steel.
there are quite a few artistic depictions of it. And boy, do those soldiers look small next to it.
So yeah, it's probably someone has probably found some of those old records.
Yeah.
You're also finding that of the army, there weren't a whole lot of normal-sized monsters. There's mentions of undead, of ghouls, but they seem to be a small detachment of them, as opposed to what seemed to be just a great many huge beasts. Apparently, there was a lot of manticores, a lot of trophies marking them in a lot of pages and accolades. There are talks of chimeras. There are giants, mainly hill giants. A lot of ogres. In fact, the ogres seem to account for most of the foot soldiery of this army. So it's quite nasty.
Yeah.
And let's see what else actually, just to refresh my memory, because I haven't got it noted down bit for bit. Let's have a little gander here. Yeah. Luckily, Cornelius, you see no mention of red caps. And again, the undead are just sort of very general. Ghouls, skeletons, zombies. Seems very normal apart from the big ass fucking skeleton giant. And yeah, there's not a whole lot else. Yeah. It was mainly large beasts. Chimeras, manticores. A few flying creatures that they don't actually have a name for, and the description seems to be very conflicting. Although, if you give me a nature check, Rain.
Okay.
8.
Damn.
You're not really sure, but you think these sound like something you were told about as a child by one of your elven parents. Something to really avoid. But you just can't
I would
remember.
assume.
Yeah, but you just can't remember the name of it. So you guys have spent a couple of hours at this. This has taken a lot of jumping between various files just to clean out these little bits and pieces, because, man, they're really obsessed with the ego stroking in these books. There's not a lot of theses, there's not a lot of scientific studies or researches. It's a whole lot of, we did well.
That seems like a theme here in general.
Hmm. You also do find a little mention of Tamara. The dragon goddess Vidzarzul is mentioned. But it is about a sentence and a half. But it's joined alongside Bahamut as well, where it just says that you can't even find like the full part of it. It's a scrap of a page. It just talks about how these are no longer worshipped.
Well, that's a fib.
So that's what you're able to find in the non-restricted section.
Mm-hmm.
And it's taken a lot of time. The two of you are sore. You've had to heft a lot of books around because Mage Hand just isn't doing it.
Well, I assume we'll just go and pull the strings to get some of them. Although I guess I could do a identify on some of the gates just to see if there's any magical protection. Should they, in the near future, involve us doing some scoundering?
Oh, you know there's going to be magic on that gate. You don't even have to check that.
You're casting Identify?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure you want to do that.
He said he's doing it.
And I'm going to be standing there going, I don't think you should do that, because what if any spell tells them that you're casting spells?
And he's completely ignoring you as he draws out his circle in chalk. Does his simple...
I listen.
I think it might be wiser if we can somehow find our way in there legitimate.
That's a very unnecessary paranoid thought. Identify might solve the whole problem.
Or it might cause problems. I am used to magic causing problems.
I'm wondering why he's doing Identify and not Detect Magic.
I don't have to detect magic. That's Rain and Castalia's department, I believe.
Well,
Oh no,
you could-
it's Sassul.
You could ask Rain to cast Detect Magic.
I think that has kind of been made clear.
Well, she could just do it herself if she already avoided me doing anything. But yeah, I think I've got to let discretion be the better part of valor and not do it.
What about you, Rain?
No, she's just staring longingly. Very
They are
longingly.
amazing looking. Just think of all the untold knowledge there. What
Right.
deep, dark secrets are there in the way back of Rax's history?
They're all so well kept. The
Well,
whole time she's waxing poetic about how wonderful the books are.
Oh yeah,
and
beautiful.
At this point, Cornelius is just kind of maybe tucking the string a little extra just to get it done with. Like, as much as she loves books, it seems like she has issues with the love of books.
It takes a few minutes, but yes, the door is unlocked and you see a different acolyte there waiting for you. Ah, I hope your studies were very useful to you.
They were.
They were wonderful.
Excellent,
much.
excellent. And he just walks past you, Cornelius, to check at the shelves for a moment. I hope you don't mind. We just had to do this as a precaution. As he lifts his holy symbol, gives it a flick, and dangles it down along you, Cornelius. And then down along Rain. This is not an impeachment against your honor. It's just something we have to do to make sure. I hope you understand.
Fully understandable.
Thank you. Please follow me. And he just simply escorts you out. It feels like it's a completely different path from the one you were let in on. And of course, the door was locked securely after you walked out. But you are out in the main temple, then out onto the street. And then there's this little shuffle of coins behind you, but you just notice it's a dude shuffling his change. As he has to put coins into the little box. Let's see. So while that's going on, Zarzul and Siegfried. Which one of you guys wants to take over for now?
Well, Zarzul's going to quickly go back to the house,
Yep.
grab Wolfgang and enough gold to pay down payment.
I'm trying to remember now. Did you guys even pull the chest indoors?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, just making sure of that. Yeah, as you...
He's done with the shield that's still in the wagon.
Droop, of course, welcomes you home. He makes the one
Hello,
chair.
Droop. Excellent work.
Yeah, I'm trying to work on it. I'm trying to make it all sort of decorative and get it to look really nice. And see, I put I put the Hydra's head. See, as if like because we beat it, so Hydra head's on the legs.
Yes, fine workmanship, Droop.
Although
Most excellent.
I probably shouldn't have put the teeth in because it doesn't really balance. It's sort of gonna teeter. I better change this. I better get rid of it. And he just puffs it into smoke.
It is important to practice anyway, Droop.
So
You
I
will
still
be
have to,
a fine wizard one day.
so I still have to watch the house.
For the moment, yes.
Okay. Getting a bit hungry. All right. Have fun, Zarzul.
Grab it. I shall bring you back some food.
Thank you. Yeah, and as you bring Wolfgang along, there's a few gazes of small scaly monster and furry monster, half furred.
Yep. I'm expecting this.
Quite a few people are giving you a wide berth now, as expected. As you wheel in, though, you find Nevis there waiting, halfway through a sandwich. Although the sandwich is as long as your head. Ah. Right. Oh. So you just want the one side?
No. Don't know exactly what happened there, but I think some small friends may have played a little bit of a joke.
Are there things smaller than you?
Well, my friends are small. It's more kobolds, yes.
Yes, okay. Okay. Tell him not to bite anyone.
I look at Wolfgang.
Wolfgang looks
I'm
at you.
assuming Wolfgang knows perfectly well what's going on.
Not really, he doesn't understand language.
Okay. I let Wolfgang know that it's just we're taking measurements for armor
Yeah.
and not to bite the people.
He can understand you and he can pick up on a few words, but it's not like he can actually understand the languages. I think.
Okay.
I have to check a revised ranger again.
Probably can't.
He might be able to. Anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, he pads forward apprehensively, but he's not going to let any emotion show, for he is a noble wolf and a proud hunter, and they're touching his hinders, but he manages not to flinch. He does glance back a little bit, and just giving this person, why are they measuring around that part? But very quickly it's done. Nevis looks down the figures, nods his head a few times. All right. We have it fine. Yes, payment half in advance.
I hand over the 65 gold.
Okay. Studded lever, 3 days. But it includes
Thank you, good
today.
sir. Okay. Do you know where I could buy a sandwich to go in this area?
I mean, there's plenty of street vendors in the market. I get one of my boys to run up and down each day.
Okay. Thank you, good sir.
Have a good day.
I'm gonna head towards the Fuzzle Clumps.
All right, you head for the
I'm
Fuggle
interested
Clumps.
in a hat.
As you approach it, you're thinking it is a wonderful place because you are seeing the pops whiz fizz bangs, you are seeing smoke swirls. This is a killer place.
Excellent.
Yep. And it is all a bustle as usual. There are a lot of gnomes running around. There's a lot of tools being clamoured and hammered. There's some small fires and some scorch marks on various kinds of gnomes. It's a place of learning and invention. And you do see the one who is sort of stagnant is the one behind the counter. Well, standing on the counter.
I'm in awe at this point. Hello, friend.
Hopefully you are. Hello. Welcome to the Fuggleclamp Emporium.
Oh, yes, it is most grand.
Do you have business with us, friend?
Possibly. I was at the show last night, and there was this man with the most splendid coat. He
Oh,
mentioned he
yes.
may have got-
Yes, we're well aware of that one.
Yes.
Some of my finest work,
Oh,
that is. I personally made that suit.
It is amazing, good sir. You are such a fine craftsman.
That I am. That I am.
I was... Well, I probably cannot afford a full coat like that. I was wondering if you could do me a hat in that fine splendor.
What style are you looking for? Come here, come here. I need to measure you up.
Well, whatever's... I saw this hat that was what the wizard was wearing in the play. Something along that line.
What play? What play is that then, sir?
The Heroes of Van Dalen, I think it was.
Oh, I've seen that one. That's pretty fun. That wizard's a right arse, isn't he? Never catch any of my boys doing anything like that, as you just look behind you and see a gnome running past with his head on fire. But it's okay. He's put out afterwards and then walks right back to the blazing inferno of his workbench. Yes, I quite enjoy that one. That Kendra thing, she's got her, Karen. Yeah. Right figure on her. Not much of a talker, though.
No, I never met her.
That
I don't know
Frida,
what she
though.
was like.
Oof. A lady in tight levers, that's a
Ah.
thing. As he's
Yeah.
saying this, though, he's tightening the band around the top of your head a little too tightly.
That might be a little too tight, good sir.
I need to get exact numbers. Don't worry.
Okay.
So you want
okay.
one of those type of hats. Okay, I could... You've got yourself two options now. I could enchant an existing one. It's going to take a little less. You're probably looking at about $550.
Okay.
If you want
Okay.
a premium quality, well-made, custom-fit hat with the enchantment, you're looking at around $625.
Okay.
But you
okay.
want the ever-bleeding colors, yeah? That's the thing you want.
Oh, most definitely, good sir.
Yeah, that's where most of the money's going into, so don't you worry. It'll be beautiful. It will be every color possible.
Oh, yes.
So is this for your boss, Lazzle?
No, for me. Yeah. I was also wondering whether you buy materials. I may have something of interest.
I mean, we need particular, interesting stuff. I can see you've got a few knives and all on you. I'm not really looking for a bit of animal hide.
I have something of possible interest. How does flail snail shell sound?
Ooh. Okay, now you've got my interest there, and he puts a hand on your shoulder. He's still standing behind you as he thinks for a moment. Flail snail shell. I could make fully intact.
Yes, good sir.
He is now kneading your shoulder with his hand as he's looking off into the distance.
Oh no.
Fully intact, I can make shields with that, lenses, a full armor, plate armor. Flail snail plate armor, glittering and shining magic resistance. His fingers are digging a little bit harder into your shoulder now. He steps forward He steps forward a bit level with you. You can see there's a gleam in his eyes. Full flail snail shell, you say? Fully intact,
Yes.
not a chip on it.
Well, it had wear and tear from when the snail was alive.
Ooh, I see. Alright. That might change things.
If you want to come and have a look and
Yes,
check it out.
let's go.
Okay. I just need to grab a sandwich for my friend on the way home.
Don't worry about it. Lunch can be put off. Dinner's coming up. Staffenhost, you're in charge. As he just leads you forward. He's still got his hand on your shoulder, by the way.
I'm gonna grab a quick sandwich from one of the vendors on the way past and just toss the vendor a gold coin or something as I go quickly by.
Oh, cheers, mate. You managed to get something that's just like a, stewed meat sandwich kind of thing. Bit of veg, bit of cheese. Simple enough. And yeah,
we're off
he is pushing you a little faster than comfortable walking speed.
home. We're a couple of short people making a very quick walking.
Yeah, he's just bustling you through. He's kind of using you as a battering ram as people start getting in the way. Full flail snail shell, yeah? Keep on, lead on.
Yep.
And you take him in back of the house, yeah?
Yep.
He hops up, it's on the wagon, yeah?
Yep.
Oh, rubbing his hands together. Clambers up, takes a look. Oh. Hang on. He hops on down. You can just see his tall hat bobbing around the top of it as he just seems to scoot all around the wagon. You can hear his voice echoing as well. Hello! Hello! Ooh. Ooh, yeah. I can see what you mean by wear and tear. Oh, yes. I could make so many things of this. This would be amazing. Yes. It's a very lovely piece. It's not the most pristine possible.
No, but very hard to come by in any condition.
Yes, but it's definitely had a hard life, and I think we should keep that in mind here as we talk. It looks like it's been scuffed a bit. There's a few scrapes on the underside from small little objects. Been sitting on its side a whole lot. That could also deform some of the natural pattern. Lugging it around will also be a bit of a problem. I mean, it's a logistical nightmare.
No, it's not. It's on the cart already.
It's not my cart. Is it your cart? Do you
Yes.
pull this cart?
No, we have horses for that.
I see horses need fed and watered as well, so it's even more expenses building up here. This is a very inconvenient thing. As I can see, I'm going to be very generous here with my offer. I'm going to take into account everything that's going on with this, and then give you something that's fair, considering the faulty condition, the issues with it, and just generally the logistical problems that I will be facing as a purchaser of this object.
Yes.
Hang on. He turns his back to you, starts rifling through his pockets and pouches. Out comes a small quill. Let's just double check here. Oh man, so many D's. There we go. Yes. 4,200 gold. Or 420 platinum.
That's a good offer.
It is a very good offer, and one you should certainly seriously consider. Because, I mean, who else would really have the means to make use of this, or the funds to purchase it straight up immediately in one fulsome payment? Trying to find a buyer for this would be very difficult under normal circumstances.
Yes, yes. I think I shall take you on that offer if you can throw in the hat as well.
Oh my god.
Oh!
And
Oh!
Rain is silently dying.
He turns around, rubbing his back for a moment as if a pain is just stirred up. Oh, now. I was offering you a very fair price for that, and you're expecting me to give away some of my hard-earned custom work, and I was very generous with my pricing on that before. Oh, that gets me right in the lumbago. That's
All right. Fair enough. 420 platinum it is.
Excellent. Okay. Just wait here for a mo. Actually, hang on here. And he pulls out a little chunk of stone with a face on it. And he just holds it up to his head for a moment. In silence. Okay, now we simply wait. He just sits on the wagon on the shell.
Yep.
A few
I'll
minutes.
head inside and hand Droop his a sandwich.
But if I eat this now, it'll spoil dinner. Thank you for the sandwich. And he's just sort of looking at it for a moment before he conjures a little box to put it in, and then sets it aside for a moment, and chasing Pufflesworth away when he starts to sniff at it. And very quickly you hear a trundle of a very nicely done up carriage, very ornate, with very proud looking horses on it, and several gnomes hanging on. As they wheel into the back garden, there's a knock on your door to bring you out again.
Yep.
A small chest box, or a small strong box. As you can see inside, 420 platinum, and you know what? I'm throwing in the box for free. That's how you do a sale.
Thank you, good sir.
Thank you too. Let us shake on this.
Yep.
And I'm just making it very clear. You're welcome at my store anytime if you want to give some of those coins back. In trade for business, of course.
Of course.
They conjure up Tensor's floating disc. The shell is lifted from that wagon to theirs, and they wheel off with it back to the Fuggle Clumps.
Okay.
You may realize you have something to tell the party when they get back.
Yep.
You're having a think about, did Cornelius and Rain feel like this when they bought the house?
Oh no, I'm perfectly happy at this point.
And the flail snail shell is gone. So you can remove that from the treasury. Okay then, Siegfried, what are you up to?
Well, I've just done the last delivery, haven't I?
Yep, easy enough. Simple handover. Number 2 silver.
Siegfried's got to come back and say, "Hey, guess what? I made 6 silver today."
I don't know. How much have I actually made today?
That's 6 silver because you had 1 failed.
Oh, in that case, I'm going to go to one of the bars and listen to the gossip and grab some dinner.
Okay. Meanwhile, the other ones have taken up a few hours over dealing, so Castalia. Let's see here. Give me 2 rolls using strength with your blacksmith tools.
Alright.
Because you're just doing the good old grunt work.
Okay. Strength. I'm still wearing the gauntlets.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 rolls with it?
Yep. Johan is very impressed with your first day of work. It's only a small shift, you know, he just had you helping out a little bit. But he's sitting back stroking his long goatee-style beard. You've done a bit of work like this before, and you did not lie. That's nice. Some good lines there, good strong. Not a lot of flaws either. That's... Yeah, welcome aboard. Again, more appropriate attire next time, but show up tomorrow, you got yourself a job.
Absolutely. I look forward to it, and I will certainly dress a little more appropriately.
I mean, I'm not saying it's not appropriate, it's just not safe.
Well, yes.
Oh, yeah. I'd like to keep you the full night, but... I mean, it's just a walk-in, I've still got some things to do. But yeah, consider it, you know, anytime you want to hop in, smack a hammer a few times if there's nothing going on, all yours.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, the key's kept underneath that anvil there. And as you look across, it is a real anvil. And they do slide the key underneath it. You know, just in case you want to let yourself in. So, cheerio. I got some more pounding to do. Mainly on those knuckleheads. Fucking cousins are never any use, are they? And he clunks off again. But you are now freed up, and also, Raiden Cornelius, you are in the square of the Temple District. So who's got something they want to do?
I do want to get my things to replace so I can do my summon familiar again.
Yeah, it's
and
easy
then
enough.
get a double mount.
Yeah, that's easy enough to just purchase for that usual price. Although you're having to do a bit of double talk and sort of, you know, there's a lot of incense, you're looking for a nice incense, but it's not for religious purposes. It's a bit of a hassle to sort of... It's still the same price, but there's a lot of talking around because there doesn't seem to just be any sort of wizard emporium kind of thing. Not in the Temple District, anyway. What about you, Cornelius?
I'm gonna consider getting some materials so I can copy the sending scroll into my spell book.
Okay. Again, it's easy enough to acquire for this established price in the book. So that's easy enough. I mean, there's plenty of places you can get high-quality parchment from. But, of course, they're all wanting the coins. Alright. That only leaves up Siegfried and Castelia.
Well, I'm likely heading home after my shift.
Yep. How about you, Siegfried? Which
As
bar
I
did you
said,
settle
I'm
in?
heading to the nearest tavern to overhear any gossip and grab a meal.
Alright, as you put your feet up, it is fucking grim. You walked in expecting a bit of bustle, a bit of lunchtime gossip, and you're seeing a lot of very morose people staring in the drinks. And you're noticing bandages, you're noticing walking wounded. While you were doing your courier job, you missed a procession of people being brought out from the west gate. And not all of them were taken to the Temple District. Some were just lightly grazed, and they're sitting here waiting for pickup. So there's people in armor, there's people in various kind of levers, some with slings, and a lot of bandages, a lot of blood, a lot of depression. But on the bright side, a lot of gossip too. So give me a perception, and what are you poking your ears out for? Let's see what you roll and see what you get. Alright, you overhear two particular subjects among the general chatter, so we'll get to the general chatter afterwards, but what are you sort of thinking of hearing for specifically?
I guess I'm mainly wanting to... One of the things, if they're soldiers, I want to find out what the situation is outside the wall.
Very easily you find out it is bad. The Orc Horde isn't actually right at the gates or anything, they are like a good many miles out, but they've gotten closer. They have established camps. They are able to just saunter around pretty much free since none of the city's defenses are working. The only way to really deal with them is crossbow, longbow, and getting out there to fight them hand to hand. The people that you're seeing in the bar, they've been posted out there for several days, and it's been bad. Like, anytime they have a skirmish, oh sure, the guys in heavy armor are doing well, but once you're hit by an ogre, you are hit by an ogre, and you can't really just walk it off. You know that yourself full well. And there always seems to be more of them, and there's talks that there have been giants spotted, but luckily none have come close, although a few boulders have sailed through the air, so yeah, there are giants. There have been some massive, horrendous roars that have had them waking up in the night screaming. And they could swear that a few of the camps were torched. Not just the night camps, but the orc camps as well. It's looking bad, mainly because there's so many other knights, there's so many other warriors and guard that aren't there out front, and they're only getting rotated weekly. Like, nothing decisive is being done about this. It's just fighting them back sometimes, holding, sitting around listening to the war drums over the night and not doing anything about it.
Okay, so pretty much mismanaged. Okay.
Feels like it, yeah. There's a lot of complaints on the higher-ups. But then there's also a lot of comments of, it would be so much worse if it was the actual king doing this. There is no confidence at all in the actual previous king doing a good job here. But on the bright side, it would have got a laugh if he charged off into combat himself and got cut down. Very grim table that came up with that one. Alright, what's your second specific thing? Anything?
Not off the top of my head at the moment.
Well, you were still wondering about the castle staff, yeah?
Yeah, but I don't think these guys might know be talking about that information.
Well, you do notice there are a few pinks sitting there, and the Azael seem to be one in charge in regards to that. But, they might not say it if they see an outsider, so you got the option if you want to try and slink closer.
Oh, I'll give it a go.
You're able to blend in, which is amazing considering the amount of beard you have. And also, generally
Using
being...
it as a curtain.
Yep. You've just got down on your knees, now you're a very skinny dwarf. It's fine, you blend in perfectly. But yeah, you're able to sit down, cubicle near to them, look very intent at your beer, and just sort of fade into obscurity. And the general things you hear are, they wish they were assigned up at the palace. There's never a reason to leave there. It is self-sufficient, it has its own farming land, it has its own grazing, it has its own servant community. It is the perfect place to sit out the war, but then they also wonder, it's so fucking isolated and yet the orcs aren't making any move on it.
Now that bit's interesting.
It seems like the most obvious, easy target because it is several miles travel. It is up a mountain. It is well in view. And the orcs haven't made any approach to there. They've only been approaching the town.
Okay, I have to think on that one.
There is a bit of a general murmur as well, just simple little bits and pieces. Apparently they're saying they're going to drum up more mercenary recruitment. Make sure to put those guys out front. The way this is going is going to be a very short line of succession for the next crown. And hey, there might even be a few titles, a few endowments of land that'll be going spare for people who prove themselves, and then there's a very cynical chuckle around it there. As they just say, as if a mercenary would ever get that kind of reward. They'd have to slave a war boss themselves. And it gets very quickly into just insulting freelancers. No honor, just pay. No loyalties. And it gets deep into the racism too, as the drinks keep going. A lot of talk about anti-greys. And that's generally where the rest of the murmur starts to go as well. A lot of bitter people who did not like getting beaten. So that's Siegfried done.
Standard.
Yep. Cornelius and Rain, your purchaser made. You heading back?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's fair to say that everyone's sort of going back to the house.
How much did I spend on food and beer?
Eh, a silver. Because you were very good at making one tankard last the whole time. I mean, yes, you could have downed a whole barrel yourself, but you were keeping an ear out. You were listening. Although, whenever you walk out, you still have the impression of someone who is stinking drunk. It's just a natural air you've got about you right now. No one's picking up on you at all. No one gives a shit. You're just someone they think they'll find in a gutter tomorrow.
That's the general idea.
Mm-hmm. And you walk across to the ex-brothel that is now your home. And the rest of you all filter in as well, within about 10 or 20 minutes or so, to find Droop chewing on a sandwich, Pufflesworth chewing on the other side of a sandwich, Wolfgang out of sight, sleeping, and Zarzul with his horde.
Well, hello, we're back.
Hello.
Where did you get all of this?
Oh, I got rid of some junk we kept on carrying around.
What junk did you get rid of?
The shell.
At this point, Cornelius just drops everything he has in his hand.
Here's
It just
380 platinum.
Droop scrabbles across to start picking up everything that Cornelius dropped. I'll get it.
Zarzul, you did what?
I sold the shell.
Zarzul, how do you
for
expect
how
us-
much?
380 platinum.
What?
Huh?
As we try to make the party communicate. Huh? What?
380 platinum.
And,
pretty up.
Rain is looking like she's about to have an aneurysm.
Yeah,
Zarzul, how are we going to get into the noble quarter when the thing we were going to use to get into the noble quarter is no longer in our possession?
also, you guys rolled pretty highly when you first got the shell. Cornelius was at least aware. Usually those things go for about 5,000 gold.
Yeah. Y-
Oh, he didn't tell me that.
Zarzul,
Well, he
why
didn't expect you to suddenly sell it out of the blue.
Thank goodness that thing is finally sold.
And now we can't get into the noble quarter.
At which I cock an eyebrow and look at them. And did you find any buyers who are interested in it?
We had the one guy who we were going to talk to eventually, but we were also looking up information in the libraries.
Eventually. Oh, did you visit him? Did you explain that you had the shell here and ready and maybe you should go look at it?
We were researching both what was going on in Raxis and why what's going on might possibly make sense, and figuring out that forge thing that you and Malgern had been talking about way back when.
Oh, the spell forge.
Yes. That one we didn't find so much about. But we also think something's been going on with the mages, which might explain why suddenly things weren't going so lovely around here. Basically, that mountain is, yeah, all talk of mages disappear, any magic using wizards disappeared after that mountain became a thing.
Oh, that's quite interesting.
There also wasn't a mountain there before the wizards all went missing.
That is suspicious.
You three don't even notice Siegfried shuffle in. He's that invisible.
Hello, friend.
I
Ah, Siegfried, how was your day?
not too bad. I'm getting to know the city a lot more.
Good.
Well, at the very least, we don't have to worry about rent for the next couple of months.
Possibly years. And hey, maybe you can go buy that bed now.
No.
I mean, it's a pretty good bed. That is a point. About now, there is a knock on the door of deliveries. Your furniture has arrived. There is a lot of burly types that are helping carry it all in. It's up to you guys now. You direct and arrange it, but yeah.
Yeah, just put it over here.
It's all steadily
kind of
piled up in the corner, including that glorious desk.
Careful, careful.
It is specially protected. It is bound up in thick furs, which would work as a rug, actually. You have something of a home now. And one less shell.
One less shell and back to plenty of money.
I mean, you weren't really missing money.
We kind of do have plenty of money still.
We've got plenty of money.
Do we now?
Siegfried rattles with 6 silver in his hand. 5 silver.
Rain
Bye.
still has. How much does she have on her? 125.
Has someone been updating the treasury with the expenditures recently?
Yes.
Yes.
I have mine ones anyway.
Oh, but have you done it for, say, the desk?
Oh, that was taken out of what
Yeah, party
Cornelius
funds.
is carrying around.
So that would be the treasury value, yes?
Yeah.
All right, well, now we
Yeah.
have 5 times as much money.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Assuming, of course, that Sazul is handing over the money, is not sitting there biting anyone who comes near it.
Oh no, he's handing over that 380.
That 380.
Yeah, platinum piece. So
Yep, that's exactly what he got.
yeah.
Exactly.
And all of that's going to be stolen the second that he goes out drinking again.
Oh no, I'm not taking any extra drinking. I've learned that lesson. I thought we were keeping what was in. I thought Cornelius was keeping track of how much gold
Yeah,
is
they
in
have
his belt.
We have around 5,400 gold now.
All right.
We had around 4,000 when we came into the city, because there were like, I think, if I remember correctly, didn't they take like almost 1,000 gold in the? No, they took a lot of gold from the chest that they could see in our.
Yeah, that one only had 1,000 in it, so we took like 250, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
250, and then other expenditures we have. So I think we had around. No, actually, we might have a little bit more. 6,000 gold now.
Yeah, because what was in your belt wasn't actually being kept in the treasury list, I think, unless you put it in there.
Yeah. No.
Because I've only been working with the 825 is what's in the chest.
Actually, I should
'Cause we-
probably just put it in here so we can all see it. We can all deduct. Let me just put it up on the very top here.
Well, just make sure you point out it's in Cornelius's pockets, because that's accessibility.
No, just. Yeah, but I just got to write party fund so we all know.
Yeah. But just point out, make sure you know which one's in Cornelius's pockets.
Yeah.
In case Arzul wants to buy something shiny again.
Yes, the shiny hat.
There we go.
I'm
Party
gonna have
fund
to think on that.
6,300 G, I think.
Is that what's Is that everything, including what's in your pocket?
This is what is This is what with yours and what was in the pouches,
Okay.
in my magical pouches, and then I of course have my own personal fund on me, but I don't count those. This is party funds. This is for everyone to freely use. Oh, by the way, hang on. How much did I had to use for these spells, for these components for these writing spells in?
I know Rain would have had to spend 50.
For
Yeah.
which day was that?
This was for your.
Spending.
Yeah, no, this was for her getting the components for Find Familiar.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 25 gold's worth of incense and whatnot.
Yeah.
That was for sending. That's a level 2 spell, right?
PhD. Might be 3rd level. And do cleric spells. Yeah, sending's 3rd level.
Okay. And sending is also a.
Yeah, it's a wizard spell too.
So how much that per level? 25 or 50 gold per level?
Wizard. Learning spells to do. Where do they list it?
Copying a spell. For each level of the spell, it takes 2 hours and costs 50 gold piece.
Oh yeah.
And setting was 3rd level, so it's 150 gold pieces.
Mm-hmm.
With range.
Rain
That
wouldn't
would
be
be,
able to copy it into hers yet.
Yeah, no, I'm not that high yet.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying with your unless you bought it from your own funds, your things for your familiar.
Oh yeah, no, I bought that out of my own funds.
Okay, so I'm just gonna deduct 150 because I only had 20 gold on me.
So after using Tensor's floating disc and some help from Droop, and probably tries to get the rest of you to help him, Cornelius has to move his writing desk to somewhere he can enjoy. I'm guessing it's one of his 2nd floor rooms.
Well, yeah.
And then he settles himself down, Droop sitting outside, playing with his toys.
Well,
So-
he just played with his toys.
So, you found some things out, traded some information, a couple of you got employed. Isn't it amazing when you just walk in and get a job? What are you guys going to be doing? It is definitely nightfall by this point.
Rain is going to summon her familiar and then study the book a little bit more while taking care of Popplesworth.
Which book is she studying?
The Necromancer's thingy-mobop. The spell book.
Yeah.
Looking at how everything works.
I mean, it's quite interesting how they changed Cure Wounds to fix the undead. How they managed to swap out infusing life force with reinforcing the destruction of all existence. You gotta give them, some props for that. It's a horrible atrocity and whatnot, but it's impressive.
It's a fascinating atrocity.
Yeah, it is like 12 pages long, the modification to make this spell work. And that's taking up a lot of your time, because, man, that's a lot to digest. But
Oh yeah.
it wouldn't be hard to translate into your book.
Yeah, not something that she's interested in.
How about the rest of you guys? I mean, Zarzul, I think, is pretty fucking happy.
Yeah, I'm considering my hat options. Do I really need one like Cornelius's? Or maybe something else?
I mean, you do have in your possession the copy of a bowler hat and also Cornelius's hat.
Yes, the bowler. Hmm.
Oh, for Christ.
Both are good options, or maybe I should find my own. Ooh. I've got to consider this.
Well, he's deep in hat thought. How about the two employed? Castalia, Siegfried?
Oh, I'm quite pleased. The shell is finally gone. So that's out of there. And I got to do some smithing. So I get to relax and get ready to go tomorrow in actual regular clothes, leaving Sod and Lash behind at home. Yeah,
You get to be dry for once.
I get to accomplish what I've wanted to do since the very beginning of the game. I get to smith.
And so the party disbands. Now they have gainful employment and continue to work hard 9 to 5 jobs. The quests are forgotten. Castelli and Siegfried eventually move out on their own, getting a smaller taverna to themselves. They keep Zarzul in a doghouse outside.
Beware of dog, he's extremely friendly.
I don't get it. Wolfgang's able to wear clothes and stay inside. Why can't Zarzul? But more importantly, what are you guys thinking about doing the next day or tonight? Darkness is coming down, Siegfried. That's kind of your friend.
Well, I think that, well, it's probably going to be too late for Cornelius to start writing spell into his book.
I mean, you can start work on it. It's 2
Okay,
hours per
well,
level,
that's
so
one.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, are you guys doing anything more tonight?
Siegfried's just going to rest up and let the streets that he's learnt kind of float around in the back of his mind to figure out shortcuts and bits and pieces. No point in going out at night when you don't actually know the proper layout of all the streets.
So it's gotten dark already out there.
Yeah, but I mean, it's probably around 5 or 6.
Okay. Hmm.
Could probably go with actually getting some, since Chorus was kind of making fun of the last time. Actually got to get some provisions so we could actually make food in the morning and in the evening.
I think you guys actually
I was
did.
considering that.
I'm trying to
I
remember.
thought we did that.
Yeah, I think you did buy a bundle of various foodstuffs.
Okay.
It's just
I
you
didn't
start
remember
off in the
we did.
morning with nothing.
I
Yeah, I think-
remember we bought. I think we only bought the accessories like bowls.
Yeah, we only bought the bowls, but we also had
Potteries.
provisions when we were on the road.
That's what I mean. The rations, like.
Yeah.
I thought you just did like a bulk purchase. Like, 5 gold or something like that there just to stock up the larder.
Yeah, I don't think we did that.
Yeah,
I think
that's.
we only part.
Yeah, well, just deduct 5 gold, and then
So
you've
we
got
just
enough for
buy
say.
stuff and didn't buy any food.
Yeah, you got a week and a half of stuff. None of it's non-perishable, so it's cheaper than a ration. And some of that stuff is going to go off, but hey, it's nice enough. Troop's able to arrange a larder. He's able to have fun. Might even cook. Although all the drinks you could get to Cornelius are very cheap, very basic, very plain. You're not even sure if you'd call these red or white.
More like colored water.
But if no one's got any further plans apart from scribbling down a spell... No, yes, no.
I'm just huddling with Pufflesworth.
While reading Dark Secrets from a Twisted Man.
Mm-hmm.
And look, this part, see that? That's the calculation that destroys the man's soul. That way they
She
can
actually
never come back.
She probably would be explaining it to Pufflesworth like that as she goes along.
Pufflesworth chitters in delight,
Yeah.
learning new
Are you using the ring of animal speak?
Of course
Not
she
for
is.
that, no. No. Not for that, no. For something
No,
greenery,
Pufflesworth is, though.
doesn't like the idea.
Then we bring the lights down. I think this is your 4th day in Raxis, maybe your 3rd one.
3rd one, I think.
Yep.
First one is the tavern. Second was when we were just in my Leo's tiny hut, and this is the 3rd night.
Yep. Morning arises. You've got furniture, you've got some beds, you've got some manner of furniture, but ooh, it's still rough. You wake up in your various rooms or hut or hunches. It's still not a home, really. There's nothing personal about it, but hey, it's a roof, it's no longer covered in mold, and Droop seems to have done a great job cleaning. The day is yours to seize for about 40 minutes, and then we close the session. So, Castalia, for the first time in quite a while, you're shrugging out of the dancer's outfit.
Mm-hmm.
You're pulling free sodden lash and then remembering it's a curse that's making you soaked to the skin at all times. And as you pull it
Yes.
free, the foliage and the water are still clinging to you, even though you've let it drop from your mind.
Does the curse transcend elemental planes?
I mean, don't think so. Attunement has like a 10-mile radius, I think. It doesn't travel planes.
Alright then. Won't be an issue.
Well, what are you doing?
Back to the blade. I can dismiss the weapon, shutting it into an interdimensional space, and it appears whenever I call it.
Well, yeah, in that case, the foliage is gone, just falls off you. A couple of the wildflowers, the moss, the grasping vines. And yeah, gradually there is just a puddle at your feet and no longer traveling down you.
I'm going to miss it a bit.
You also just realize it is chilly in this room. This is the first time you've felt a different temperature from yourself for quite a while.
But still, normal clothes, and I get to sweat for a day. Oh, glorious.
Yeah, there is that weird feeling as you pull on the shirt, the jacket, the jerkin, the trousers. Wow, this feels heavy. It's a lot more weight than you've had on you for quite a while. These boots are sort of strangling your feet for a moment before you just realize this is how they've always felt. It's fine. This is normal. Buttons to do up, strings to pull. It's a novelty. It's only been like 2 weeks, but it still feels different. But yeah, you step out. Many-layered, fully clothed. Looking like you did at the start of the adventure. And you have, well, I assume you'll probably all have a little breakfast, so who else is waking up in an unusual way with an unusual mood? Apart from Cornelius, who just fondles his desk. Thinking back to those hours he spent on it the night before. I'll be back for you later. And he can't help himself, pulling down the folding screen panel to close it all off, and just the smoothness of emotion. That is exceptional artisanry.
Yeah, Cornelius will probably also be heading down for breakfast.
Yep.
And I assume that it's the troop that has been handling the breakfast, or someone else been doing it.
Well, Droop was probably up first. Running back and forth in the still shoddy kitchen. Like, he's conjuring up the various panels and stuff he's using. So, you guys have the morning to begin and decide what to do. This is your turn to talk together, to discuss, to form plans, to scheme.
So, what are people's plans for today? And Costello, you look remarkably dry today.
Yes, I have gotten employment at one of the local smitheries or foundries, so I'm going to be there for most of the day. I will be
See.
keeping my ears open should anything come my way, and try chatting up a few of the customers. Though I
Well,
don't think I'm going to get as much attention, but that is fine.
I think the next topic should be trying to figure out a way into the nobles' quarter. Because, not to mention, if we find somebody in there, they might be more likely to be able to put on some pressure to get us into that other section of that library, Cornelius.
Hmm. But where exactly would be the best way to find our way inside?
And we have to figure out what we're now going to have to trade to get in there.
Well, you do remember you used to have a novelty item that you probably could have convinced a noble to let you borrow and therefore get into the party, but you don't have it anymore.
Yeah, I know.
Instead, you've got a kobold sitting on a box at the dinner table.
Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong, we have some little trinkets, but I don't think our little trinkets are going to be enough to get us in, particularly not for somebody who would have the sway that we need.
The cloak of many fashions.
I'm wearing that. That's my clothes. I
It
was
would
thinking
also be a good item to get in with the nobles.
it's my clothes. I'm not going naked.
And we could buy you new clothes.
Not to do the same thing.
Or armor.
Nope. Nope.
Well, I'll
Only thing-
probably be spending the rest of the, at least the rest of the morning, getting getting some spells written down, just in case we're going to need to urgently send a message.
He's got a lot of nerd time to do.
Speaking of, I have one sending scroll available for anyone feel like they're going to need it. Okay, then I guess no one is going to need it in an emergency.
I suppose if we have to, I can keep a hold of it.
I will be fairly in a populated part of town, so I think any commotion would honestly be noticed.
Just realizing this odd thing of looking across the table. Because Castalia has changed into fully normal clothes and is no longer, growing plants on her, and you've lost the shell, you kind of have lost the most interesting visual things to trade at a nobleman's interest.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you've just got here, you thought you had everything stacked up, Cornelius, and you're back at square one with a really nice desk.
But it is a nice
Get
desk.
the bed.
Yeah.
Go get the bed. You can afford it now.
The only thing we've really got is that mirror, but I don't think that's enough to really get us into something important.
Hmm. The whole thing about the shell was that it, after all, could produce some pretty powerful stuff,
Yeah.
which would be of interest to a noble. Or these are just trinkets for them.
Yeah.
Come to think of it, your other shining piece to show him would have been the tosser, but that's on Malgern.
Yep.
Well, think about what you're gonna do this time, Scooby Gang. It's all up to you.
It looks like all we've got really is parlor trick. We've got the shield that makes naughty pictures.
I mean, little do you know, people have fought and died for that shield.
And the snake.
Although I do wonder, we might have not considered other things that might be of interest to people in noble quarters. They do seem to have a lack of a wizard academy at the moment.
That is accurate.
You going to try and pass yourself off as a teacher?
No, but I
No, he's going to try and pass himself off as a wizard.
Well, who better to teach a wizard school than a wizard?
It'll be very tough deception rolls, Cornelius, but I think you can do it.
Not so much that, but I do believe we have one at our table here who have some interesting backgrounds to certain people of dubious backgrounds. Let's look over to Rain. I believe that your old connection, and with that book you're running around, you could probably be of interest to some people in the quarters.
She does not look thrilled at this prospect. Not to mention, you forget they would probably be interested in verifying. And if they look up the situation, they're not going to find my name attached to anything.
I will have to be back in a moment.
All right.
Continue speaking.
Speak, Zarzul, speak.
Well,
Good
if
boy.
you have intimate knowledge, that is a good bargaining tool.
Because as we have seen from the books, I think there might have been a reason why they don't have a wizards academy any longer.
Yeah, they did completely and utterly knacker it up.
So I do not believe that a new opening of education is of their highest interest at the moment.
The question would be, are there houses that lean a little bit more towards that sort of thing? Now, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't be horribly opposed to a undercover operation. But that's going to take some digging. I can give it a go, but I think I'd also need some help from people who are more adept in navigating the outside situation. I'll be fine once we get into the noble quarter itself. That's more standard, but out here, I've never. That's not my strong suit.
So I guess that would be your specialty, Siegfried.
What do you want me to try and do?
Try to find if there are any noble houses that lean a bit towards the occult magic section.
I'll see what I can find out. Which reminds me, I gotta go explore the cities.
As a note, I do know how to speak and read in demonic. If somebody's looking for any specific services in that area, that could also be an in too. That's not exactly a common thing.
And I'm back in play.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
So what's for
We'll
Chatterbin?
see you.
Oh, we're going to sell off Rain.
You're not
No,
going to get a
you're
lot.
not.
Give her Castalia's outfit, maybe, but until then, you're probably looking at coppers. Well, I mean, think of the attitude she's going to have. So yes, what's the actual plans?
Yeah, we would talk about that. Siegfried's gonna help Rain find out if there's any noble families that have some sort of interest in the occult magics. See if that could get her a way in.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not too sure how I'm going to find that out either.
Yeah, that's I don't know either, but that's about as far as we came up with on that front. Even if it gets shut down.
Well,
then at
to
least
bring
we
it
can
back
carry
to
track.
reality, the one thing you do know is that there are reps for the noble houses looking for novelties, looking for people who have stories, looking for eye candy to attend parties, and they usually frequent the craftsmen's pubs during the evening to try and scour up some talent.
We could try the Heroes of Van Dalen.
You could actually pretend to be who you are.
Oh God.
Ooh.
Yes, we can go up there and say, we know the real heroes of Van Dalen. How would that be at your party? Yes. This is good.
Uh, oof.
Wait, they go looking for talent at the craftsman?
Well, at the pubs. Because that tends to... It's got weapons stores and whatnot and gear, so it's usually where mercenaries hang out.
Yeah.
Ah.
The more interesting people. And we have some interesting people here.
More importantly,
Two
it's
of the
also...
heroes of Van Dalen.
More importantly, it's also, the closest exit they have, really. That is nominally safe and not filled with with god botherers.
And pause.
And the pores. Who, I'd like to point out, still have that massive barricade around them that is patrolled frequently.
Yeah, that might also be worth taking a look at since we're anyway.
Really?
Evening.
Do you think there might be something unusual going on?
No, I'm
I
pretty
feel-
sure we know that,
Yeah.
but getting in there is a different matter entirely.
I just love the fact there's never been a fucking reaction to it. You guys have always just walked past thinking, not my problem.
Well, we were kind of on the way to do other stuff.
Yeah, that looks
Yeah.
great in the history books. The noble heroes, we were just on our way to do other stuff.
I don't know about you, but I got employed.
We're already
well.
employed.
Yeah, it turns out Castelli was just looking for an escort so she could get a new employment.
Alright, well, I guess that once Cornelius have done grinding into his spellbook, probably gonna scout out the area that's been closed off, at least just to find out if there's any soon-to-be epidemic about to break out or something.
Rain will volunteer to go with.
Look at
Oh,
that,
actually,
Siegfried.
you co-
Cornelius stole her away.
Oh, actually, with the you could summon your familiar. You could probably also do a scout around over the top of it.
No, true. 'Cause,
UAV the area.
A raven doesn't look suspicious.
What's a bird?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, have you ever locked eyes with a pigeon or a seagull? They're pretty fucking suspicious.
That's mostly only birds that are on the water. Any bird that kind of relates to water tends to have a high asshole factor. No, you chuckle now. You don't chuckle when you see a flock of geese coming at you.
Or when a seagull steals your pizza. The whole
Yeah,
pizza.
You let the seagull have that pizza.
Or a swan breaks your arm, because that's the one thing they can do. Everyone knows it.
The seagull, by the way, did steal the pizza, but it was too heavy, so it landed on the lady next to us's plate.
So, Castalia is getting employed. Siegfried? Zarzul.
Well, I'm going to. Siegfried's going to continue with his courier jobs as he learns the way around the city.
That leaves the one who needs supervision the most. Zarzul, what are you going to be up to?
Zazzle's going to head over to the craftsman area.
Just to hang about?
Hang about, listen to things, see which houses are looking for what. So keep an ear out for what houses are finding interesting.
And
know,
buy
get
a new
the-
hat.
Maybe.
Keep an eye out for that really dapper kobold to see if the mines might have an issue.
Oh no, the mines are perfectly fine. Otherwise, he would have sent a message.
Yes.
Yeah.
But of course, there's no problem in the mines. None at all.
Nope,
No,
none
no
at
problem
all.
in the mines. Yeah. And if maybe head over to the forequarter. Well, I wonder how they'd react to kobolds over there.
Kobold House is right here.
Yeah, it's in the poor quarter.
Okay, yeah, maybe I'll head over there and find out what's up with the barricade. Sort of bounce around a bit, just seeing what people are interested in. Definitely check out what the nobles are looking for in their guests. Keeping him, but he's keeping in mind he has and then the heroes of Van Dalen are just there. We can use this.
Yeah.
After seeing the play, this is obviously the way that things are going to have to be.
You could put Cornelius right into the spotlight of all those other nobles.
He'll be in his element.
But you know, you'd probably have to get him the costume to really sell it.
Hang on.
Hey,
You
what?
are.
No.
I'm going to go get his hat. Then I'm going to take that to the Puffle Clump and make them make that hat.
Hang on,
More-
hang on,
even
hang on.
more.
Hang on. Hang on, which hat are you taking right now?
At the moment, I'm tossing up on hat ideas. The bowler, yours, or maybe find something of my own.
No, I was just worrying whether you were considering taking the original.
Oh
Or the
yeah, I'm thinking
copy.
of that as well. That would sell you as the original, not just some knockoff, but that hat just with that color, those colors, those bright shiny things are just wow.
So, what
Nobles
are
are
the
meant
rules
to be
for PvP
splendid.
combat?
It's basically a slap fight until one of you says, okay, enough. It's opt-in. You both got to be okay with it. And keep in mind, Zarzul, he's probably prepping Fireball.
This could be a problem.
However, if you don't get caught, you don't get into a fight.
I think he would get caught when he shows up with the fancy colored hat.
Yeah.
But by then, there's nothing he can do about it.
He can fireball it.
Luckily, magical items are highly resistant.
Yep.
The
No,
kobolds
maybe
aren't.
I mean, it's gonna be real tough to convince him about Frida.
yeah.
Well, not really.
Maybe I just say I've got the wizard.
Well, also
I
Siegfried's
mentioned
name
the
is on the
rogues.
poster. He's just not a character in it. Officially.
Yeah. But I've got the wizard at least. So. But yeah,
And
I'm
the
gonna
person
listen
with
to.
the, yeah.
Oh, I've got a wizard at least. It sort of matches descriptions, so this is good. And some people must have seen the original play when the Frida was actually male before they changed it. But yes, I'm going to see if that's what they're sort of looking for up there, or maybe there is somebody actually looking for somebody who speaks demonic. For some strange reason.
Well, it's a tiefling who
That
just
would take
really...
more digging.
Nah, it's just you approach a tiefling and just ask, do you want to get in contact with your family again?
That's the other side.
So, there are some vague plans at work. You have a general idea of what you want to go out there and achieve, and you should really start trying to achieve. But we'll see how that goes, and I don't really want to start anything with only 15 minutes to go.
Yeah.
Just that Siegfried, yes, you've got new packages to deliver. All very sort of book-sized and whatnot. Castelia, you are welcomed by Johann and his brothers, who take a lot less time looking at you. But Johann's still the same amount of gaze, he doesn't really care. Just get to work. Meanwhile, Cornelius and Rain head out for the Temple District. Zarzul meanders around the Craftsman's District, finds a few pubs to knock into. And we'll see what he hears next week, I think. Everyone okay for next week?
I think
Yep.
so.
Yep,
Right.
should be fine.
Hope so.
There we go then. Next week we'll have another episode of Rescue at Raxis, as the party will hopefully eventually get round to maybe planning out to doing something. Or I'll just start throwing some orcs at them. Maybe a little sea invasion, maybe a Tarask, you never know. Could be Cobalt House just goes high on meth and starts trying to slaughter everyone around them.
I thought we found out that the barricade is because there's a zombie plague behind the wall.
You haven't found out what's the cause of it, you just know that there's a barricade up. But I'll give you a little something. Rain, you send out your familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Finord. There we go, I had to check the name. Sailing high into the air, he's looking down upon the slum district, and what he finds is the darkest of nights below him.
Ooh.
It is like it is midnight in winter down there. There are the
Dear.
tiny... He's having to get pretty high just to avoid, any cursory glances or maybe crossbows of people who are just looking for target practice. And he can see a few hurried movements of pinpricks of light, possibly lanterns, maybe torches. Sometimes getting snuffed out, sometimes getting indoors. It's real fucking dark there, though.
Well, so you might gonna have to put your hood back on.
It's possibly magical darkness. I don't know whether it's going to work against that.
You are
Yeah,
also...
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, Finord is also scanning the walls and seeing that there are no Azael and no Cerule Knights posted on the walls around the area. There are several of the White Tabard Crusader types, though. And they're not looking in, they are looking outwards. So that's what we'll leave off with. That's something to think about. There's other stuff too, like Zarzul. Have you ever checked those silver scales on your hand again?
Haven't done that for a while.
Yeah, shame that. Anyway, next week, Rescue at Raxis. And now I hit the button to turn